Hello, Giant Tank 1400 here, and we're just going to be chilling in Minecraft. You already know the topic is a pretty serious topic, so let's get into the Minecraft part of this video first, and then we'll talk about that serious topic. This bridge, by the way, I do have to widen like a couple blocks for horses and stuff to go through, so you don't have to jump. I'll do that like another day. This building went through so many design changes. And it was just pretty much this facade the entire time. As you can see, the detail work is not done on the other sides. I feel okay about it. Like, there's parts of this I like, parts of this I don't. It is very unique with the two different colors and these huge jut outs. Normally you wouldn't do either of these things in a build, but I did, and I think they kind of work, and I kind of like them because they're so unique and most people wouldn't build like this, and that has always been my style. So pick something unique, pick a block that no one likes, and try to work with it, you know. Now what we're going to actually work on today is going to be the interior of this build, and as you can see, it gets kind of loud here. There's a sheep farm up there with observer clocks running, so we are going to get rid of that with the sound here. Now the interior of this build is for the create mod. As you can see, these are kind of the basic machines if you know anything about the create mod. And the style we're going to go with is going to be something like this. This style might change, and we might do something differently, but I do kind of like this style and the roof and everything. I'm still working out the design, but we're definitely going to do this dig down 12 blocks and put like layers of glass, because I really like this effect right here that it gives, that it just keeps going on and on forever. So that's what we're going to kind of do as we talk about the topic today, is we're going to dig this out and we're going to talk about a very serious topic. This will probably be the most serious topic of this channel, and it's about depression, as you guys know from the title of this video. Now, depression is no joke. If you have it, or someone you know has it, definitely seek professional help. Seek probably multiple professional help. I'm in no way a licensed professional at all. However, I do have some advice, if you will, just general advice, not specific advice, to people dealing with it, as someone who has dealt with depression multiple times in his life. So I'll kind of start off here with a story about my experience with depression, as I've been depressed for most of my life. And this is not me like just making this up. I've been depressed since around early middle school, late elementary school, to a few years after college. And then recently I kind of got struck with depression again, which is kind of the whole point of why I wanted to do this, because I really wanted to help people out with these kind of things and kind of tell my story and what actually helped me. Now, this will be coming from a Christian perspective, so keep that in mind. But a lot of my tips will help everyone, but some of them will be specific towards religion, if you will, if you want to call it that. I wouldn't exactly call it a religion. It's more of a relationship, but that's a topic for another day. So basically, when I reached my low point was my 5th year in college. Yeah, 5 years, I know. And basically I was alone in my dorm room, and I was already in the hospital. I have ulcerative colitis, and I had a major flare up at the time. So I was like physically very ill, and it was for months, and I was already in and out of the hospital. And I just didn't have any hope that I was ever going to get better. I was physically weak. It was, if you know about ulcerative colitis, you know, if you don't know, you can like look it up. I won't give you the details of it. But basically, my body was at an all-time weak. I was very down. I reached my low point then. And in my dorm room, I was alone. I was laying in bed, and I reached out to God. And I did something that I do not suggest anyone do. But you have to remember, I was at my lowest point, and I was being completely honest. I turned to God, and I prayed for death. Now, that's the part I specifically don't want anyone to do. I want you to turn to God and just ask for help. That's like the best thing you can do. But I was just being honest with God, and I just kind of wanted to die. I didn't see any purpose in my life. I didn't see anything purpose. Shout out to the last video. Anyway, God answered that prayer in a way that was very unexpected. And I'm not saying that if you do the same thing I do, you're going to get the same results, because God is God and he'll do what he wills. We do not command God. And this is something that if you're religious, you kind of already know this. We don't get to say how God reacts. We don't get to say what God does. And this is something that people just don't understand, but it makes perfect sense, because God is the creator and we are his creation. It's not the other way around. So God does what he wills for his purposes. Now, in that moment, he gave me so much hope. Hope beyond hope. More hope than I've ever experienced in my entire life. And he just flooded with me. As I sat there and I prayed for death, he gave me hope, and he gave me a feeling that he had a purpose for my life, or purposes for my life to continue. And even though from a physical standpoint, the next day was even worse than that day, it was so much better because the hope God provided me. It was unreal, the amount of hope. And you have to remember, I'm sitting there alone in my room. So, like, even today, even to this day, I look back at that and I'm reminded of how real God is, because there's no other explanation for it. Remember, I was alone in my room. I was very much depressed, and I turned to God, and he answered my call miraculously. It was deep calling out to deep. So my suggestion in all this is basically for you to turn to God and just ask for help. If you're depressed, this is the number one advice I can give you, is just turn and ask for help to God. Just be honest. Deep calls out to deep. Just be honest with God. I mean, he already knows anyway. And I'm not saying he's going to answer in the way that he answered with me. In fact, I highly doubt he will, because like I said, God will do his will, whatever his will is for his purposes. But, I mean, it's worth trying, right? The second thing I suggest is to reach out for help from people that you trust. If you don't have anyone you can really trust, then that's a different story. But it has to be someone that you trust, that you know can like handle this kind of stuff. And basically, that's like the two big motivators I have. One is that there's always a hope, and two, there's always a purpose for your life. So do not do anything. Do not do anything drastic. Depression's a very serious thing, and believe me, I've been there, and I'm kind of getting out of it right now, if you will, because I was in it for a little bit here, like a few months or so. Yeah, depression is no joke. And really, the best thing I can tell you is that every single one of us does have a purpose. We do. God has a purpose for all our lives. The reason we're still alive is because God has that purpose. So do not think that your life is meaningless, because it's not. And that's why I say just ask God for help. It is the best advice I can give you. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not a professional. Seek professional help. I do have my qualms against some of the things, the antidepressants I've never been on, and I personally don't like, mainly because one of the side effects they always say, it might lead into depression. And it's like, we don't understand the brain well enough to actually do these kind of things. I know it's supposed to help chemical imbalance in the brain and stuff like that. I personally don't like them. I've never been a fan. But I mean, I know there are cases, I think it's way rarer than what they actually say, that those kind of things would help. But again, I think those are very rare. And I think your first course of action should be to turn to God for help and to turn to others for help. That should be always your first. And it's not going to be like, I wasn't clear of my depression that night. It was it was years after. It was a few years after I got out of college that my depression went away. And then, like I said, it recently came back, so sometimes that happens. And what I'm discovering now is kind of the purpose of depression, if you will, the purpose of suffering, if you will. And I kind of knew this from that previous experience, as I would go back and remember that time, and I would be reminded how real God is. And that's like the reason my faith is so strong. And now that I am going through that depression again, I kind of see God working, and I'm more in tune with, like, oh, God has a reason for allowing this to happen. He didn't cause it to happen, but he did allow it to happen, and he allowed it to happen for a purpose. And that's kind of where I'm at there. It's God does everything for his purpose, and part of his purpose is to bring us closer to him. And that was one of the things that my first depression led me towards, is that it led me towards him. Even to this day, I look back and I am reminded at how real God is. It's like I said, this is going to be more of a Christian-based episode, if you will. We're not going to have all episodes kind of like this. Sometimes we're just going to talk about random stuff that doesn't matter. This one's just one of those times where it does really matter. Anyway, that's kind of all I have for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And more than that, I do hope that you actually got something out of this, as depression is a very, like I said, a very serious thing. And I think all of us either have gone through or going through depression or know someone that is. So I think depression, this kind of video can help out a lot. And that is my hope, is that people are helped out by these videos, by me sharing these stories and talking about these deep topics. This one's a very deep one, and a very one close to my heart. And I do hope and pray that it does help people lead them out of depression, and they feel a sense of hope and a real sense of purpose, if you will. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Bye.